Okay, I'm gonna give you the answers and go over the answers to page 129. So I'm hoping you were able to do it. We'll take a look at it. Again, answers should be close, but they can differ. And so please don't be alarmed if they do. You can always pause, rewind if you want to see or hear something again. I'm going to go through and explain how I got these answers. Number 11 on page 129. Is there a proportional relationship between the number of pages translated and Mrs. Jackson's earnings? Justify your answer using the table, equation, and graph. So again, a proportional relation means every relationship in it is equal to every other. If you were to write each coordinate or each set of numbers, y over x is 1 over the other, write them as a fraction, each fraction will equal every other fraction. In terms of a table, it would have to include the coordinate 0, 0 on a table. And if it includes it and all the numbers go up with the same rate, then it's proportional. And so 1 is to 350, so 0 would be 325. This would not be proportional because it wouldn't include the coordinate 0, 0. If this went down by 25, this goes down by 1. That means 0 and 325 are in this table. And to be proportional, it means it has to go through the coordinate 0, 0. So not proportional, the table doesn't include 0, 0. It asks us to verify it with an equation. With an equation, again, the equation of a line is y equals the slope. In this case, it's 25. That's the rate of change times the input. That's the number of pages. If it starts at 0, if it just was y equals 25x, that would be a proportional relationship. But as soon as you have a plus or minus some number out here, it's not proportional. It means when x is 0, 25 times 0 is 0. I'm going to use Mr. Penner, give it the finger method, and cover that up, pretending like that's a 0. And when x equals 0, y equals 325. It's not proportional. Again, if it was proportional, when x equaled 0, y also has to equal 0. And then it asks us to verify that this is, in our case, not proportional because of the graph. And a proportional graph will be a straight line. It can be discrete, which means dotted, or it can be continuous. But it has to be a straight line and pass through the origin. This line does not pass through the origin, therefore not proportional. Approximately how many, use the graph to answer each question and explain your reasoning. Approximately how many pages would Miss Jackson earn if she translated 57 pages? Well, on my graph, approximately, and again, your answer can differ because I'm literally just going on my graph. Here's 50, here's 60. 57 would be about right here. I guess I'll do it in pencil. 57 is going to be around here, so I'm just going to draw a straight line up. Straight line over. And on the graph, here's 1,500. Here's 18. It's closer to 18. So I just said 1,700. So it means she would charge about $1,700. I could use the equation and find the exact values, but it didn't ask me that. And so that's just an estimate. Graphs are good for estimates. Approximately how many pages would Mrs. Jackson need to translate to earn $750? So in this case, it's 750. Here's 600, 900, so that's a 300 gap. 750 is right in between. And on my graph, I went across from 750, and then I just went down from there. And went, hey, that's between 10 and 20. My guess is that would be about 15 pages. So on my graph, 750 means she translated about 15 pages. Again, if I use the equation y equals 25x plus 325 and plug in the value x equals 57, 25 times 57 plus 325, I could get an exact value. On B, if y equals 750, I could go 750 equals 25 times x plus 325, use my steps to solve a two-step equation, and I could find out exactly what x equaled. But it's not asking me in this case for that amount. It's not asking me for the precise amount, just an estimate. On 13, for each translating project Ms. Jackson completed this month, determine if her pay was correct. If not, state the amount she should have received. Explain each answer in terms of the equation and the graph. So again, the graph is only going to give me a rough estimate. If something is way off, I'll know it just from the graph, but they're asking me to use the equation as well. And again, the equation is y equals 25x plus 325. X is the number of pages she translates. Y is the total money she's owed. So let's take a look at the graph first, because that will give us a close estimate, approximation. Mrs. Jackson translated 23 pages, and she gets a check for $900. Does that sound about right? Let's take a look. So here's 20 on my graph. Here's 30. So 23 is a little less than halfway. And I'm going to go up from there. And that's pretty close. I come across, and that is about 900. So I think if it's not accurate, it's going to be darn close. So I'm going to take her 23 pages and put it into the equation. Money made, y equals $25 per page. She translated 23 pages, plus your $325 startup fee, or take the job fee. 25 times 23 is 575. 575 plus the 325 is 900. So 23 pages should have cost $900, and that's what they wrote the check for. So we're correct. We look good. It looked right on my graph. My graph has the point. When x is 23, y is 900. That's how I'm going to check the graph first, just to see if it looks pretty close. On 13b, she translates 42 page, and she gets a check for $1,050. Let's see if the coordinate 42, when x is 42, see if y is 1050. When x is 42, that's a little past 40. So we're going to take that up to our line, and then we're going to come across with it. And my line comes out between $1,200 and $1,500, money that she should have gotten paid. So if she only got paid $1,050, I'm thinking this is going to be a major mistake. Either my graph is way off, or there's a problem. So let's plug into the equation and see what it should be. Y equals 25 times x. In this case, the 42 pages for x. So 25 times 42 plus 325. 25 times 42, I used a calculator, is 1,050 plus 325. Add those two together, and she should have gotten paid $1,375. I need to put the units on there. Units matter. So it was incorrect. That check was not correct. My graph makes it clear that the point 42, 1050 is not a point on my graph. So my graph makes it clear that that is incorrect. And finally, letter C. Mrs. Jackson translated a 35-page product specification, and she receives a check for $2,075. Is that the right amount? And again, on my chart, or my graph, I'm going to go to 35. So 35 is perfectly between 30 and 40. I'm going to draw a line straight up to the line on my graph, and then I'm going to come straight over to the money to see roughly where it should be. And I have it just almost $1,200. So right around $1,200. So if there was a check for $2,000, somebody overpaid. So there's a problem. Let's put it into the equation and get the exact amount and see what it should be. So again, my original equation, output equals 25 times input plus 325. So output, or my dependent, equals 25 times 35 pages plus 325. 25 times 35 is 875 plus 325. And so that amount should be, the check should have been $1,200. My graph clearly showed that my line didn't include the point 35, 2,075. So that amount was incorrect. Again, take a look at this page, outputs, inputs, on our graphs, equations, tables. We're using all of it. And this is the material that we're going to be using moving forward. So in the next video will be an introduction to the next section. And I'll work with the pages. I'll start you on the next problem, and then I'll turn you loose on it.